The coolest part about Security Council was representing a country, and whether you believe with their position or not, and you had to find a diplomatic way to represent them, exactly like I said, whether you supported them or not. We just researched our topic and our countries, and then we ended up getting into a council and having our general speakers list. So each country said their position, which once again was contradictory, and it was a lot of headbutting because each country is different. And then from there, we ended up having unmoderated caucus, which is just a big group discussion where you write your resolutions.
It was a very intriguing process in the sense of it was my first time doing it. So being able to just sitting there and just feeling how the representatives of all these nations must be feeling, it was very interesting. I'm actually glad I did it. Initially, we had 2 different resolutions because 2 different point of views. None of them got passed, which is okay. But our resolution talked about reducing carbon emissions, which a lot of people don't recognize the importance of reducing carbon emissions and the effect it has on our society and our health. And yeah, so our resolution included that aspect. Also in our resolution, we talked about each country contributing a specific amount of their GDP into this project. It was very successful.
It was very challenging because you think, oh, I don't have it for another 3 days, but then you realize your next 3 days are fully booked back to back and you have literally no time. So there's a lot of research going on even during Security Council. China and human trafficking have a very complicated relationship. That was a very big challenge for me, but I worked with my friend who was playing Russia, so we managed to actually work some stuff out to the point where we were both somewhat happy with our resolutions. I think that it was a really good experience because I actually got to see how they do what they do, how they kind of go around and in a way show their corruptness. But it was very interesting, and I think had it been any other topic or any other country, I still would have found it super interesting. But I like that I got to stand in another country's shoes. It's pretty cool.
So I was on the Cybersecurity Council, and I was representing the UK. We ended up passing 2 resolutions, so that was very good. And it was a really interesting experience to see all the different perspectives that were represented. We had Russia and China on the Security Council, so that was obviously, we had to work with them for cybersecurity, so we had to find innovative ways to make a resolution that they would also agree to. We actually had a unanimous vote because we found things that we could agree on, and we, for cybersecurity, we set up a commission that would set standards for cybersecurity crimes. So that was something that we had to overcome. One of the biggest lessons I'm taking away from this is the ability to come up with innovative solutions. Like I said, we had to work with some countries that all had different perspectives. Some countries were allies and some countries were not. And so we had to work with that, and we couldn't change their opinions. We just had to work with them.
So during Security Council, I was acting as Sweden in the Israel-Palestine conflict, and it was a very interesting experience because Israel and Palestine, the whole situation is very convoluted. So trying to come up with the research and learning all about the positions of not only my nation but also the nations that I would have to work with was a big task, of course. So it was a lot of rapid fire understanding ideals rather than specific policies, so then we could kind of come up with a little bit of a vague but specific enough policy that we could attempt to solve the problem as best we could. One of the most important things that I learned was that just because on paper nations have very different opinions, it does not mean that there's not necessarily a common goal. We were all looking to establish peace in the Middle East, and even though some nations preferred 1 state or 2 states, some preferred a capital in Jerusalem and others out, we could create some sort of beneficial solution for all nations that we could get behind.